Arnold Schwarzenegger is 18 years old when his family drags him to a doctor in 1965. The physician examines him, writes a report, and delivers his verdict. Your body is not designed for this. Stop training immediately, or you'll regret it. What Arnold does next changes his life. Graz, Austria, October 1965. Tuesday afternoon, 3 p.m. Arnold Schwarzenegger sits in the waiting room of Dr. Friedrich Steiner's medical practice, a small clinic on Herrengasse, one of Graz's main streets. The waiting room smells like disinfectant and anxiety. Vinyl chairs line the walls. A receptionist sits behind a frosted glass window, typing medical charts on a typewriter. The tick-tick-tick of the keys echoes in the quiet room. Magazines from 6 months ago sit on a side table. Arnold doesn't read them, just sits there, hands on his knees, staring at the floor. He's 18 years old, 210 pounds, arms straining against the sleeves of his button-up shirt. His neck is thick, his chest broad, his thighs so developed the fabric of his pants pulls tight when he sits. He doesn't look like a normal 18-year-old. He looks like someone who has been training obsessively for 3 years, which he has. His mother sits beside him, Aurelia Schwarzenegger, mid-40s, wearing a modest dress and sensible shoes, her face tight with worry and frustration. She's been arguing with Arnold for months about his training, telling him it's too much, too dangerous, that he's damaging his body, that no good will come from this obsession with muscles and weights, that he needs to focus on a real future, a real career, not this bodybuilding fantasy. But Arnold won't listen. He trains 6 days a week at the athletic union in Graz, sometimes twice a day. He eats constantly. He's consumed by this single goal, becoming Mr. Universe. His mother doesn't understand it. Can't understand it. To her, it looks like madness. Like her son is destroying himself for something meaningless. Across from them sits Arnold's father, Gustav Schwarzenegger, late 40s, former military police, stern, traditional, a man who believes in discipline but also in knowing your place, in accepting reality, in not reaching beyond what's reasonable. He hasn't said much today, just sat in the car on the drive to Graz with his arms crossed, jaw tight, radiating disapproval. Gustav thinks bodybuilding is vanity, thinks Arnold is wasting time that should be spent on practical skills, on finding a real job, on contributing to the family. The Schwarzenegger family isn't wealthy. Gustav works as a police chief in their small village of Thal. Aurelia manages the household. Money is tight. And here's Arnold, spending every spare moment in a gym, eating enormous amounts of food they can barely afford, talking about competitions and titles and dreams that sound absurd to working-class parents who have never dreamed beyond their station. 3 weeks ago, Aurelia demanded Arnold see a doctor. I want a professional to examine you, to tell you what you're doing to your body, because you won't listen to me. Arnold tried to refuse. His father made it clear refusal wasn't an option. So here they are, at Dr. Steiner's office, a respected physician in Graz. A man who has treated athletes before. Someone whose opinion, Aurelia hopes, will finally make Arnold see reason. The door to the examination room opens. A nurse appears. Arnold Schwarzenegger. Arnold stands. His mother stands with him. Gustav follows. They walk down a short hallway into a small examination room. White walls. Examination table covered in sanitary paper. Medical charts on the walls showing the human body, muscles, organs, skeletal system. A scale in the corner. A blood pressure cuff hanging on a hook. The smell of rubbing alcohol and latex. Dr. Steiner waits inside. Late 50s, gray hair, wire-rimmed glasses, white coat, stethoscope around his neck. He's been a physician for 30 years. Seen thousands of patients. He has that particular expression doctors develop, the one that says they've seen everything and are rarely surprised. He shakes Aurelia's hand, nods at Gustav, looks at Arnold. So, you're the young man who wants to be a bodybuilder. Not a question, a statement. Arnold nods. Yes, sir. I've been training for 3 years. I compete. I've won some regional titles. My goal is Mr. Universe. Dr. Steiner's expression doesn't change. Your mother is concerned about your health. She says you train excessively, that you've gained significant weight, that you're obsessed. Arnold glances at his mother. She's watching him, arms crossed, waiting for the doctor to confirm her fears. Dr. Steiner gestures to the examination table. Let's have a look. Remove your shirt. Sit here. Arnold unbuttons his shirt, takes it off. The doctor's eyebrows raise slightly. Arnold's development is significant for an 18-year-old. His chest is thick, his shoulders capped with muscle, his arms grotesquely large for his age. Veins run across his biceps and forearms. His abdominal muscles are visible, even relaxed. This isn't normal teenage development. This is the result of systematic, intense training. Dr. Steiner picks up his stethoscope. Breathe normally. He places the stethoscope on Arnold's chest. Listens. Moves it to different positions. Listens for a full minute. His expression shifts slightly. Concern. He removes the stethoscope. Your heart rate is elevated. Significantly. Even at rest. Arnold says, I train heavy. My heart is strong. Dr. Steiner doesn't smile. Elevated heart rate isn't strength. It's stress. Your heart is working harder than it should be for a young man at rest. He wraps the blood pressure cuff around Arnold's arm. Pumps it. Watches the gauge. Releases slowly. Checks again. Writes something on a chart. Your blood pressure is high. 145/95. That's concerning for someone your age. Arnold feels a flicker of worry but pushes it down. I feel fine. I'm healthy. I can train harder than anyone I know. Dr. Steiner looks at him over his glasses. Feeling fine and being fine are not the same thing. He palpates Arnold's neck, checking his thyroid, his lymph nodes. Asks him to turn his head left, right. Are you taking anything? Supplements? Hormones? Arnold hesitates. Just protein. Vitamins. Nothing illegal. The doctor doesn't look convinced, but doesn't press. He finishes the examination. Tells Arnold to put his shirt back on. Dr. Steiner sits at his desk. Looks at Arnold. Then at his parents. I'll be direct. Your son's body is under significant stress. His cardiovascular system is working far harder than normal for someone his age. The muscle mass he's built is forcing his heart to pump more blood, maintain higher pressure, work constantly at an elevated rate. This is dangerous. If he continues training at this intensity, he will develop serious health problems. Cardiac issues. Hypertension that becomes chronic. Potential organ damage. He's 18 years old. His body is still developing. What he's doing is forcing growth that his system isn't designed to handle. Aurelia looks vindicated. Turns to Arnold. You see? The doctor agrees with me. This is dangerous. You have to stop. Arnold's jaw tightens. He looks at Dr. Steiner. But I want to compete. I want to be Mr. Universe. I can't stop now. Dr. Steiner removes his glasses. Cleans them slowly. Puts them back on. Mr. Universe. That's your goal. Arnold nods. Yes, sir. Dr. Steiner's voice is calm but firm. That's a fantasy. This is reality. Your body is not designed for this kind of extreme development. Human beings are not meant to carry this much muscle mass. You're forcing your system beyond its natural limits. The short-term result is impressive physique. The long-term result is serious illness, possibly death. You must stop. Immediately. The words hit Arnold like physical blows. Stop. Immediately. Give up everything he's worked for. Abandon the only thing that matters to him. He opens his mouth to argue, but Dr. Steiner continues. I understand you've invested time in this. I understand you have goals. But goals mean nothing if you're dead at 30. I've seen athletes destroy their bodies chasing dreams. I've treated men who pushed too hard and paid the price. You're young. You can recover if you stop now. If you continue, the damage will be permanent. Gustav speaks for the first time. You hear that, Arnold? Permanent damage. Is this bodybuilding worth your life? Arnold feels cornered, ganged up on. 3 adults telling him he's wrong. He's damaging himself. He needs to stop. He wants to scream that they don't understand, that bodybuilding isn't just a hobby. It's his purpose, his identity, his future. But the doctor's words keep echoing. Serious health problems. Possibly death. What if he's right? What if Arnold's been lying to himself? What if this dream kills him? Dr. Steiner writes something on his prescription pad, tears off the sheet, hands it to Aurelia. This is my medical recommendation. Training contraindicated. No heavy lifting. No bodybuilding. Light exercise only. Walking. Swimming perhaps. Nothing that stresses the cardiovascular system. Aurelia takes the paper like it's a weapon she's been waiting for. Thank you, doctor. Finally, someone with authority tells him the truth. She turns to Arnold. You're stopping. No more gym. No more training. This ends today. Arnold stands. His voice is quiet, but there's something hard underneath it. Can I ask you something, doctor? Dr. Steiner nods. Of course. Arnold asks. Have you ever trained with weights? Have you ever built muscle? Have you ever pushed your body to see what it can do? Dr. Steiner's expression doesn't change. I'm a physician. I understand human physiology. I don't need to experience something to recognize its dangers. Arnold nods slowly. So you've never done it. But you're telling me what my body can and can't handle. Based on textbooks. Based on what you think is normal. Not based on what I actually feel. What I actually experience. Dr. Steiner's voice gets colder. I'm telling you based on medical science. Based on 30 years of experience treating patients. Based on measurable data. Your heart rate. Your blood pressure. These are facts, not feelings. Arnold wants to say more, but Aurelia grabs his arm. Enough. We're leaving. Thank you, doctor. We'll follow your recommendations. They walk out of the office. Out to the car parked on the street. Gustav drives. Nobody speaks. The silence is crushing. Arnold stares out the window, watching Graz pass by. The city where he trains. Where he's competed. Where he started building something. And now it's being taken away. By a doctor who examined him for 10 minutes. By parents who never understood. By a piece of paper that says, training contraindicated. At home in Thal that evening, Aurelia pins the doctor's note to the kitchen bulletin board. Like a decree. Like a law. This stays here. So you remember. No more gym. You find a real job. You focus on a real future. This bodybuilding nonsense is over. Arnold doesn't argue. Doesn't fight. Just nods. Goes to his room. Closes the door. Sits on his bed. Stares at the posters on his wall. Reg Park. Steve Reeves. His heroes. The men he's trying to become. Is the doctor right? Is he killing himself? Is this dream insane? He lies awake that night. Thinking. His heart is beating in his chest. Feels normal to him. Strong. Powerful. Not stressed. Not struggling. Just working. Pumping blood. Doing what hearts do. His body feels good. Feels capable. Feels like it wants more challenge, not less. The doctor said his body isn't designed for this. But how does the doctor know what Arnold's body is designed for? How does anyone know until they try? Until they push? Until they test the limits? The next morning, Arnold tells his parents he's going for a walk. Aurelia reminds him, light exercise only. That's what the doctor said. Arnold nods. Just a walk. He leaves the house. But he doesn't walk. He takes the bus to Graz. Goes to the athletic union. The gym is open. He walks in. The smell of iron and chalk and sweat hits him like coming home. Franco Columbu is there, training legs. Sees Arnold. Grins. Hey, where were you yesterday? Arnold tells him about the doctor. About the examination. About the recommendation to stop. Franco's grin disappears. What did you say? Arnold looks at the weights. At the men training. At the life he's built here. I didn't say anything. But I'm not stopping. Franco nods. Good. Doctors don't understand us. They think everyone is the same. But we're not. We're built different. We can handle what normal people can't. Arnold isn't sure if that's true, but he knows one thing. He can't stop. Not because of one doctor's opinion. Not because his parents don't understand. Not because the recommendation says contraindicated. He starts training. Squats first. The bar feels heavy. Heavier than usual. Maybe it's psychological. Maybe it's fear. He does his warm-up sets. Then his working sets. 315 pounds. Deep squats. Controlled. His heart pounds. His blood pressure probably spikes. Everything the doctor warned against. But his body responds. His muscles work. His cardiovascular system handles it. He finishes the set. Racks the weight. Breathes hard. Waits. Nothing bad happens. No chest pain. No dizziness. No collapse. Just the familiar burn of hard training. He continues training. Every day. In secret. He tells his parents he's looking for work. Instead, he goes to the gym. He trains harder than before. Not because the doctor told him to stop. Because the doctor told him to stop. Because being told he can't do something makes Arnold more determined to do it. It's always been this way. His father told him he'd never amount to anything. His teachers told him he wasn't smart enough for university. Now a doctor tells him his body can't handle bodybuilding. Every limitation makes him more determined to prove it wrong. 3 months pass. Arnold feels fine. Better than fine. He's growing. His strength is increasing. His conditioning is improving. No heart problems. No health issues. He goes back to Dr. Steiner's office. Without his parents. Just him. Walks in. Asks to see the doctor. The receptionist recognizes him. Looks surprised. I'll see if he's available. A few minutes later, Arnold is in the examination room again. Dr. Steiner enters. Sees Arnold. His expression hardens. What are you doing here? Arnold says, I want you to examine me again. Dr. Steiner crosses his arms. Are you following my recommendations? Arnold meets his eyes. No, sir. I'm still training. But I want you to check my vitals. See if anything has changed. The doctor's jaw tightens. You ignored medical advice. That was foolish and dangerous. Arnold doesn't argue. Just says, please, examine me. If I'm damaging myself, I want to know. Dr. Steiner considers this. Finally gestures to the examination table. Fine. Sit. He checks Arnold's heart rate. Blood pressure. Listens to his breathing. Takes longer this time. More thorough. Finally, he steps back. Writes notes on his chart. Looks at Arnold. Your vitals are unchanged. Heart rate is still elevated. Blood pressure still high. But not worse. Not better. Stable. Arnold asks, so I'm not dying? Dr. Steiner doesn't smile. Not yet. But you're playing with fire. Just because you haven't been burned yet doesn't mean you won't be. Arnold stands. Thank you for checking, doctor. I respect your concern. But I'm going to keep training. Dr. Steiner says quietly, why? Why risk your health for this? Arnold thinks about how to explain it. How to make someone understand who has never felt this drive. Finally, he says, because this is who I am. This is what I'm meant to do. I don't know how I know. But I know. And if I stop because someone tells me I can't, even if that someone is a doctor, I'll regret it more than any health problem. Dr. Steiner looks at him for a long moment. Then nods. You're stubborn. Foolishly stubborn. But I suppose that's your choice to make. Just know the risks. Arnold nods. I do. Thank you, sir. 3 years pass. October 1968. London, England. The NABBA Mr. Universe competition. Arnold Schwarzenegger stands on stage at 21 years old, 235 pounds of muscle, conditioned to perfection. He wins the amateur division. The youngest Mr. Universe in history. The crowd goes wild. Photographers swarm. Magazines want interviews. Arnold's dream, the fantasy the doctor dismissed, has become reality. And his heart is fine. His blood pressure is manageable. His body has adapted, grown stronger, proven that what the doctor thought was impossible was simply unlikely. And unlikely isn't the same as impossible. A month later, Arnold is back in Austria for a visit. He goes to Dr. Steiner's office one more time, brings a photograph, himself on stage in London, holding the Mr. Universe trophy. He gives it to the receptionist, asks her to give it to the doctor, writes on the back, "Dr. Steiner, I didn't stop. I'm fine. Thank you for your concern. With respect, Arnold Schwarzenegger." He never hears back from the doctor. Doesn't need to. The photograph said everything. The trophy said everything. The fact that Arnold is alive, healthy, successful, said everything. Sometimes experts are wrong. Not because they're malicious, not because they don't know their field, but because they measure everyone by the same standard. They see normal and assume normal is the limit. They don't account for outliers. For people whose bodies, whose minds, whose determination operates outside the bell curve, Arnold was never normal. Never would be. And trying to make him normal, trying to limit him to what textbooks said was safe, would have killed the very thing that made him extraordinary. Years later, Arnold would say in interviews, "A doctor once told me my body wasn't designed for bodybuilding. Told me to stop or I'd die young. I'm still here." He might be right eventually. We all die. But I'd rather die having pushed my limits than die wondering what I could have done if I'd tried. Who told you what your body can't do? Who measured you against their standard and found you lacking? Who gave you medical advice, career advice, life advice based on what they think is normal, is safe, is reasonable? Because normal is a cage. Safe is a limitation. Reasonable is surrender. Sometimes the greatest risk is listening to people who have never done what you're trying to do. Sometimes you have to trust yourself more than you trust experts. Sometimes you have to become the evidence that proves them wrong.